In this video, we will see how to install DNS service on Windows Server 2022. I have logged on to Windows Server 2022 that is not part of Active Directory domain. So as you could see, it is part of a work group. And I have logged on to this server with local admin account. Now before you install DNS service, make sure that the server has static IP address assigned to it. So click on this Ethernet option and it will open up network connections page. Then right click network adapter, go to properties and double click IPv4 and here select the option use the following IP address. So now let me type the IP address that I want to assign to this server. So I have typed the IP address, subnet mask and the default gateway address which is usually .1 address. Now I'll have to also type DNS server address. So since we are going to install a DNS service on this same server, DNS server IP address will be the local address. So let me type the same IP address as DNS server address as well. Then click OK. Then again OK. Now if I refresh Server Manager, I would be able to see the static IP address that I just now assigned. Now we will start installation of DNS server role. So for that, click on Manage, then go to Add Roles and Features. Click Next. Select role-based or feature-based installation and click Next. Then select the server where you want to install a DNS server role and then click Next. And then on the server role page, select DNS server. As soon as I click on DNS server, it asks me to add features. Add features will consist of the management tools that are required to manage DNS service. So make sure the option at the bottom include management tools is also selected and then click on add features. Then click next. Then on the features page, we are not going to select anything. So we'll keep it as it is and then click next. Then here it will give you some information about DNS service. Then click next and then click on install. So now DNS server role installation has started. Now it says installation succeeded on WS1. So server role installation is completed. So click on close. Now go back to server manager and click on tools and under tools now you will be able to see DNS option. So click on DNS and it will open up DNS manager window. Then click on the server. And if I expand server, then I could see options as forward lookup zones and reverse lookup zones. So forward lookup zones are required to resolve host name to IP address and reverse lookup zone are required to resolve IP address to host name. So now we are going to create a new forward lookup zone and a new reverse lookup zone. So right click forward lookup zone and click on new zone. This will open up new zone wizard. So click next. Now here you need to select the type of zone that you want to create. So you need to choose the zone depending on whether this DNS server is authoritative for the domain or not. So since this zone would be responsible for the test domain that we have installed in our environment, I'm going to select primary zone. If you're installing DNS service on a domain controller, then you would also get the option that you see at the bottom, store the zone in Active Directory. Since I am not installing DNS service right now on a domain controller, this option is grayed out for me. So I'll select primary zone and then click next. Then I need to give zone name. This would be name of the domain for which this DNS server would be responsible for or authoritative for. So let me type the name of the domain that I've installed in my test environment, mydomain.local, and then click next. And then it will create a zone file with the extension .dns. So as you could see, it displays the domain name followed by .dns. So this file will store all the zone information. So I'll keep it as it is and then click next. Now it's asking us whether we want dynamic updates or not. So if we select dynamic updates, then the records in the DNS zone would be updated automatically. But in this demo video, I'm not setting up dynamic updates for the DNS zone. So I'll select the last option, do not allow dynamic updates, and then click next, and then click on finish. And now under forward lookup zones, we could see the domain name, then the type of the zone, that is standard primary, and then the status, that is running. And similarly, we need to create reverse lookup zone. So right click reverse lookup zone and then click on new zone, then click next. Again, we will be selecting primary zone and then click next. Now here it is asking us whether we want to create reverse lookup zone for IPv4 addresses or IPv6. So I'm using IPv4 addresses, so I'll select IPv4 reverse lookup zone and then click next. Then it asks us to give the network ID for the zone. So network ID is the first three octets for the subnet address. So we just have single subnet in our test environment right now. So let me type the first three octets of that network. So that is 192.168.215 and then click next. It will create a new file for this zone with the extension .dns. So I'll keep it as it is and then click next. Now again it's asking us, do we want to update records in DNS zone automatically? So we are not using dynamic updates here. So I'll select do not allow dynamic updates and then click next and then click finish. So now under reverse lookup zones, it's showing us the first three octets that we typed. The type is standard primary and the status is running. If you would observe the reverse lookup zone name, you could see that the three octets that we typed, those are in reverse order. So always you will see it in the reverse order. So both our forward lookup zone and reverse lookup zones are created. Now if I go back to the forward lookup zone that I had created, I could see two records are already created automatically. So the first record is of type start of authority. If I open start of authority, it shows me different parameters for this domain. So I'll keep it as it is right now. And the other record that it creates automatically is the name server record. So name server record will show us all the DNS servers that are responsible for this domain. So now we are going to create a new DNS record here. So right click in this blank space and click on new host. And now we'll have to type the host name first. So let me type the host name as test. Here it added the domain name automatically. So the fully qualified domain name is test.mydomain.local. And then type the IP address for this host name. So I've typed the IP address for this host name 192.168.215.88. And then if you want to create reverse lookup record for this same host, then you can select this option, create associated pointer record. So reverse lookup records are called PTR records. So I'm not selecting this record right now. We'll create the reverse lookup record manually. So I'll click on add host and it says the host was successfully created and then click on done. And now I could see the host A record displayed here. So this host name test will now be resolved to this IP address. Now we'll create a reverse lookup record for this same host. So go to the reverse lookup zone that we created, right click in the blank space and select new pointer PTR. So first we'll have to type the IP address. It has already displayed the three octets for this reverse lookup zone. So let me type the last octet, and that is 88. And now it shows the fully qualified domain name. Again, the IP address is shown in the reverse order. And now let me select the host name for this IP address. So click on browse, then double click server name, then forward lookup zone, then the domain name. And then I could see the host A record that we just now created. So select that and click on OK. Then again click OK. And now PTR record is created. So this IP address will now be resolved to this host name. Now similarly, we are going to create records for this server. So let me right click in the blank space, click on new host, type the server name, that is WS1, and then type the IP address of the server. Let me also select this option, create associated pointer record, so that the reverse lookup record will be created automatically. And then click on add host. Then click on done and I could see the host A record for the server. Now if I go to reverse lookup zone and if I refresh reverse lookup zone, I could also see PTR record, that is reverse lookup record for the server. So now let us test these records. So for testing purpose, let me open CMD, that is command prompt. And we are going to use the command nslookup. So type nslookup and then type the name of the host that you want to resolve. So let me type test.mydomain.local, that is the fully qualified name for this host, and then click enter. It shows me the name of the DNS server that resolved this host name. So the server name is ws1.mydomain.local and the IP address of the server name. And then below that, it's showing me the IP address for the host name that I want to resolve. So the host name is test.mydomain.local and it has resolved this host name to the IP address 192.168.215.88. Let me also test reverse lookup record. So type nslookup followed by the IP address, that is 192.168.215.88, and then click enter. And then again it shows me the DNS server name that resolved this IP address and it shows me the host name for this IP address. So this way we installed DNS service and we also created forward lookup and reverse lookup zones. And then we also created the forward lookup and reverse lookup records and we tested them successfully. So if you found this information useful, then please subscribe to IT tutorials. Thank you.